HOA Karen kept on stealing my Amazon package, so I replaced it with angry bees. Imagine walking up to your front door, expecting to find a package waiting for you, only to be met with an empty porch. It's a feeling of disappointment, but it's not uncommon. What is uncommon, however, is when this becomes a recurring nightmare. You report it, you complain, but nothing seems to change. That was my reality, until I decided to take matters into my own hands. As I reflect on those days, I realized that something was off from the very beginning. Maybe I noticed something was wrong, but I couldn't quite put my finger on it. It started with small things packages missing, neighbors whispering about thefts, and an overall sense of unease in the air. But behind the scenes, there was a problem that went far beyond just missing packages. It was a problem of trust, of community, and of justice. Welcome to my story, where a seemingly ordinary neighborhood dispute turned into a battle for justice and a lesson in creative problem solving. I'm your host, and I'll guide you through the twists and turns of how I outsmarted my package thief, HOA Karen. It's a story that will make you laugh, make you angry, and hopefully inspire you to stand up for what's right. In this video, we'll explore the escalating conflict between me and HOA Karen and how a series of unconventional tactics led to a surprising resolution. It's a story about standing up for what's right, even when the system fails you. It's about finding creative solutions to seemingly insurmountable problems, and about the power of community when it comes together to demand justice. Before I continue, tell me where you're watching from in the comment section, and don't forget to like, comment, and hit the subscribe button for more of these gripping stories. And if you're ready for a wild ride filled with laughter, suspense, and maybe a few angry bees, then you're in the right place. Have you ever felt like you're being taken advantage of, and no one seems to care? How would you handle it? I've always been a law-abiding citizen, but living in a neighborhood with a seemingly endless stream of package thefts pushed me to my limits. I'm a tech enthusiast and a busy professional, always ordering online to save time. But when you're constantly worried about whether your packages will make it to your doorstep, it starts to take a toll. Our neighborhood is like many others, quiet, suburban, and seemingly safe. But beneath the surface, there was a growing problem of package theft, and HOA Karen was at the center of it. She was a member of our homeowners association, known for her strict adherence to rules and her disdain for anyone who didn't comply. But what many didn't know was her secret habit of stealing packages from unsuspecting neighbors. It started with small items, maybe a book or a pair of socks, but soon it escalated to more valuable packages. I remember the first time I realized something was off. I had ordered a new smartwatch, and it never arrived. At first I thought it was just a mistake, but then I started hearing from other neighbors who had similar experiences. I decided to take matters into my own hands. I set up a camera outside my house to catch the thief in the act. And then, one day, I finally had my proof. The footage showed Karen walking up to my porch, picking up a package, and walking away with it. I was shocked, but I knew I had to act. I reported it to the HOA and local authorities, but to my surprise, nothing seemed to happen. It was as if no one believed me, or worse, no one cared. The frustration was building up inside me. I felt like I was being taken advantage of, and no one was willing to help. But I'm not one to give up easily. I decided to take a different approach. One that would make sure Karen knew she wasn't getting away with this anymore. What would you do if you caught someone stealing from you, but no one believed you? Would you take matters into your own hands, or would you keep trying to go through the proper channels? I decided to take matters into my own hands. I set up a series of traps, starting with a GPS tracker to prove she was stealing my packages. But when that didn't deter her, I escalated my tactics. I figured, why not use a little creativity to teach her a lesson? I replaced one of my packages with a box filled with angry bees. It was a drastic measure, but I hoped it would teach her a lesson and bring attention to the issue. I mean, who wouldn't think twice about stealing a package if they knew it might contain a swarm of bees? It was a risk, I know, but I was desperate for a solution. The angry bees messed her up. Some parts of her face were swollen. The pains were too much on her. She was crying like a baby in front of her yard. The reaction was immediate and intense. Karen was furious, and I could see the anger in her eyes from across the street. But the real surprise came when she retaliated by tampering with my internet and filing false complaints against me. It was like she had declared war, and I was caught off guard. At first, I thought it was just a minor inconvenience, but soon my entire online life was disrupted. I couldn't work, couldn't communicate with friends and family, and it felt like my whole world was crashing down. But I wasn't going to back down. I decided to fight back, not just for myself, but for all the neighbors who had been victimized by Karen's actions. I started documenting everything, every interaction, every incident, every piece of evidence. I built a case against her, and I was determined to see it through. But as I delved deeper into the situation, I realized that this wasn't just about package theft. It was about a deeper issue of trust and community. The neighborhood was divided. Some people were on my side, while others seemed to be intimidated by Karen's power and influence. It was a tough time, but I knew I had to keep pushing forward. And then, things started to get really interesting. I received a call from a local news station wanting to cover the story. They were intrigued by the bee-filled package and the escalating feud between me and Karen. Suddenly, our little neighborhood dispute was making headlines. But with the spotlight came more challenges. Karen became even more aggressive, and I found myself facing a barrage of legal threats and intimidation tactics. It was a wild ride, but I was determined to see justice served. How far would you go to protect your property and your rights? Would you take drastic measures like I did, or would you try to find a more peaceful resolution? The situation reached a boiling point when Karen's actions became more aggressive. But I had one final trick up my sleeve: a glitter bomb with a fart spray mechanism. It was the last straw for Karen, and soon she was facing the consequences of her actions. I remember the day I set it up. I was nervous but determined. I placed the glitter bomb on my porch, waiting for Karen to take the bait. And when she did, it was like a scene from a comedy movie. The glitter exploded everywhere, covering her in a rainbow of sparkles, and the fart spray added an extra layer of humiliation. It was ridiculous, but it was also the turning point. The aftermath was intense. Karen was furious, but this time, she couldn't hide behind her HOA position or her intimidation tactics. The community saw her for what she truly was: a bully who had been taking advantage of her neighbors for far too long. As the news of the glitter bomb spread, something amazing happened. The community came together. Neighbors who had been too afraid to speak up before started sharing their own stories of package theft and harassment by Karen. It was like a dam had burst, and suddenly, everyone was talking about it. The HOA was forced to take action. They launched an investigation, and soon, Karen was facing disciplinary action. It wasn't just about me anymore. It was about justice for everyone who had been affected by her actions. Looking back, it was a wild ride, but it taught me the importance of standing up for myself and finding creative solutions to seemingly insurmountable problems. I learned that sometimes you have to think outside the box and be willing to take risks to achieve what's right. In the end, justice was served, and Karen learned her lesson. But more importantly, our community came together to address the issue of package theft and ensure that no one else would have to go through what I did. We implemented new security measures, and we even started a neighborhood watch program to keep an eye on each other's homes. It was a difficult journey, but it was worth it. Not just for me, but for everyone in our community who felt safer and more united because of it. And as for Karen, well, let's just say she won't be stealing any more packages anytime soon. She moved out of the neighborhood shortly after, and we haven't heard from her since. What do you think is the most effective way to address neighborhood disputes and ensure justice is served? Should we rely on community action, or should we always go through official channels? If you've been a victim of package theft or any form of injustice, remember that you have the power to make a change. Share your stories in the comments below, and let's create a community that supports each other. Whether it's a neighborhood dispute or a larger issue, we can all learn from each other's experiences and find ways to stand up for what's right. Sometimes it takes a little creativity and a lot of courage to stand up for what's right. I hope my story inspires you to do the same. Don't be afraid to think outside the box and find innovative solutions to the problems you face. And most importantly, don't be afraid to ask for help. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or a community of like-minded individuals, having support can make all the difference. As I look back on this journey, I realized that it wasn't just about me or Karen. It was about creating a ripple effect of change. It was about showing that even in the face of adversity, we can come together and make our communities better places to live. So, if you're facing a similar challenge, don't give up. Keep pushing forward. And remember that you're not alone. We're all in this together, and together, we can achieve anything. And if you're feeling inspired, don't forget to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button for more stories of justice and inspiration. Let's keep the conversation going and create a community that stands up for what's right. What's the most inspiring story of justice or community action you've heard recently? Share it with us in the comments below.